Ben's ship was not fancy. It was old, full of scratches and strange noises, but it was home. Outside, stars floated in the darkness. Inside, wires ran along the walls and machines hummed softly. The blind alien girl sat on the bunk, holding the warm blanket around her. She hadn't spoken again since last night, but she hadn't tried to run either. Ben walked into the small kitchen area and opened a food pack. The smell of eggs and toast filled the room. "I'm making breakfast," he said loudly enough for her to hear. "You want some?" She didn't answer. Ben placed a plate on the table near her. "If you're hungry, it's here." He didn't wait for her to respond. He went to the workshop at the back of the ship and began working. A broken drone sat on the table. Its wings were snapped, and one of its eyes was missing. As he fixed the wires, he kept an ear out. After 10 minutes, he heard light footsteps. She was moving. The girl's hand touched the wall, then the edge of the table, slowly. She sat down and began eating. Her movements were careful, like someone expecting pain. Ben acted like he didn't notice, but inside, he smiled. Over the next few days, the same pattern continued. She would eat in silence, then go back to her bunk. She didn't speak much. She didn't ask for anything. But Ben noticed small changes. She no longer jumped at every sound. She started sitting in the workshop instead of hiding in her room. And sometimes, when she thought he wasn't looking, she would touch tools on the shelves, feeling their shapes. One evening, Ben saw her holding a spanner the wrong way. "You're holding that backwards," he said gently. She froze. He got up and walked over. Slowly, he turned the tool around in her hand. "There, that's better." She didn't pull away. "You know what that is?" he asked. She shook her head. "It's called a spanner. Used to tighten bolts. Want me to show you?" She hesitated, then nodded. That day was the start of something new. Ben began teaching her about his tools, using simple words and letting her touch everything. He explained the difference between wires, screws, and bolts. He guided her hands carefully, always asking before touching her. She learned quickly. She used her fingers to feel shapes, textures, and sizes. She listened to the sound of machines and started guessing what was wrong with them just by hearing. Ben was surprised by how sharp her mind was. Blind or not, she understood things faster than most people he had trained. One day, while working on a damaged engine, Ben said, "You have good ears, better than mine." The girl looked up. Her white eyes were still blank, but her face looked softer now, almost proud. Ben smiled. "You never told me your name." She looked down. "I don't have one." "No name?" he asked. She shook her head. Ben thought for a moment. "Mind if I give you one?" She stayed silent. "I was thinking, Luma," he said. "It's an old word. From Earth, it means light. Moths are small creatures that fly in the dark and still find light." "Luma," she whispered. "You like it?" She nodded slowly. "Luma." From that day, she became someone new. Luma stopped hiding. She spent most of her time in the workshop. She asked quiet questions like, "What's this wire for?" Or "Why does it make that noise?" Ben answered patiently, always showing, never rushing. He started making small changes to the workshop, labels in braille, special sound tools, a soft bell system that helped Luma know where things were. One evening, she reached for a circuit board without asking for help. "You know what that is?" Ben asked. "It's the one with 3 connectors," she said. He grinned. "That's right. You're getting good at this." Luma gave a tiny smile. Later that week, Ben found her sitting near the engine room, just listening. "You okay?" he asked. Luma nodded. "Engines sound better when they're healthy." He chuckled. "That's true." She turned toward his voice. "Why are you so kind to me?" Ben was quiet for a moment. "Because kindness is free." "But I'm not useful," she said. "I'm blind. I'm not pretty. Everyone said I was broken." Ben walked over and sat beside her. "You know what I see," he said. "I see someone who learns faster than anyone I've met. I see someone who didn't give up. That's not broken. That's strong." Luma said nothing, but her hands trembled a little. She wiped her eyes quickly As if embarrassed, Ben didn't say anything more. He just sat there with her, letting the quiet hum of the engine fill the air. The next morning, Ben found a surprise. Luma had organized the small tool shelf. All tools were lined up by size and shape, easy to find by touch. She had used string and tape to mark the shelves. Ben smiled. "Did you do this?" Luma nodded. "It's perfect," he said. "Better than I ever did." Luma smiled too. "I like helping." That evening, Ben was working on a small flight pod when he heard her voice behind him. "Ben, why did you really buy me?" He put down the tool. "Honestly, I don't know. I just saw you sitting there, scared, alone, and something told me I couldn't walk away." Luma looked down. "I thought maybe you would hurt me too." "I never will," he said quietly. "You're safe here. Always." For a moment, they said nothing. Then Luma whispered, "I believe you." That night, as Ben turned off the lights and lay on his bunk, he thought about the last few weeks. He had come to that market looking for spare parts. Instead, he had found someone worth more than any machine, Luma. The blonde girl without a name was no longer afraid of him. She was no longer silent. She had a name. She had a voice. And slowly, she was learning to live. The days passed quietly on Ben's ship. Luma was no longer the scared, silent girl he had rescued from the market. She still didn't talk much, but her presence had changed. She moved through the ship with confidence now, her hands learning every surface. She could tell where she was just by sound or touch. She even started humming sometimes, soft, slow tunes. Ben didn't recognize the melody, but it made the workshop feel warmer. One morning, Ben woke early and walked into the engine room. He stopped when he saw Luma already there, sitting cross-legged near a humming coil. She was listening, head tilted slightly, fingers resting on a warm pipe. "Can't sleep?" Ben asked. Luma turned her head toward his voice. The coil was making a different sound. "I wanted to hear it." Ben raised his eyebrows. "You noticed that?" She nodded. "It used to hum low. Now it's sharp." Ben checked the readings on his tablet. She was right. The coil was overheating. "You saved me a job," he said with a smile. Luma looked down shyly. "I just listened." "That's more than most do." Later that day, Ben took her to the back room of the workshop, a part she hadn't visited yet. He cleared a bench and placed a small box on the table. "I've been working on something for you," he said. Luma touched the box carefully. "What is it?" Ben opened the lid. Inside was a slim device, part bracelet, part scanner. It had tiny speakers, soft padding, and a voice interface. He gently slid it onto her wrist. "This is a sound mapper. It reads the space around you and gives soft sound signals to guide you, like a kind of sonar." Luma touched the bracelet, feeling its shape. "You made this?" "Yeah, it's not perfect yet, but it'll help you walk without needing walls." He turned it on. A soft hum came from the device, followed by quiet clicks that adjusted as she moved her arm. Luma stood up slowly. The device beeped once, warning her of the wall. She turned, took a few careful steps, then smiled. "It works." Ben laughed. "Told you, you're my best student, so I had to build something special." Her smile faded slightly. "No one's ever done something special for me." Ben looked at her gently. "Get used to it." That night, the stars outside the ship shone like tiny lights on a dark cloth. Luma sat near the front window. Even though she couldn't see, she liked the feeling of space, the quiet, the distance, the freedom. Ben joined her with the cups of warm tea. She held hers carefully and asked, "Ben, do you think I'm ugly?" Ben blinked, caught off guard. "Why would you ask that? Back at the market, everyone said I was ugly, that I looked wrong." Ben didn't answer right away. He took a sip, then said, "Luma, I don't care what they said. You're not ugly, but I'm not like others." "Who is?" Ben said. "You're kind. You're smart. You saved the ship from overheating. You fix machines better than most people I've met. And when you smile, it changes the room." Luma was quiet. "You have a soft beauty, Luma," he added. "Not the kind they talk about in stories, but the kind that stays." Luma's hands tightened around her cup. She didn't speak. but a small tear ran down her cheek. "Thank you," she whispered. The next few days were peaceful. Ben and Luma worked side by side in the workshop. He taught her how to wire panels, patch hole cracks, and even fly small drones using audio feedback. She amazed him daily with her learning speed. She never complained, never gave up. One evening, while fixing a communication antenna, the ship's warning system beeped. Ben checked the screen. "Storm coming," he muttered. "We need to land." They touched down on a nearby moon. It was rocky and empty, but safe. The storm outside shook the ship, but the inside stayed warm. Ben lit a small lantern and opened a pack of dried fruit. Luma sat across from him on the floor. "Can I ask something?" she said. "Of course. Do you think I was made for something more?" Ben looked at her, surprised by the question. "I mean," Luma continued, "I was thrown away, like I was never meant to matter. But now I feel like I do. With you." Ben nodded. "You matter more than you?" "No, Luma. Maybe others couldn't see it, but that's their failure, not yours." She gave a small smile. "Sometimes I dream of flying. Not in ships, just me, like I have wings." Ben smiled. "Maybe one day you will." Luma laughed softly. "That's impossible." Ben tapped her wristband. "So was this, once." The storm passed the next morning. As Ben ran a systems check, Luma sat outside the ship, helmet on, listening to the soft winds on the moon's surface. Her sonar bracelet clicked gently, helping her explore the rocks around her. She stood on a ledge and lifted her arms, feeling the breeze push against her. In her mind, she was flying, and for the first time, the darkness didn't feel like a cage. It felt like a sky. Luma stood near the ship's main door, her hands lightly brushing the metal frame. The moon dust still clung to her boots, and her hair was tied back in a simple band Ben had given her. She had just finished checking the exterior panels, guided by her bracelet's gentle clicks and the soft voice feedback Ben had added last week. She didn't need a wall anymore to walk around. She didn't trip. She didn't feel lost. She was changing, slowly, but surely. Ben watched her from the control room, a quiet smile on his face. He had been working on something special for weeks, late at night while Luma slept. He checked the last settings now. Everything was ready. He walked out, holding something under a cover in his hands. "Luma," he said, "I need you to come with me. I have something to show you." She tilted her head. "What is it?" "A surprise." She hesitated. "Is it a good one?" Ben chuckled. "I hope so." He led her down a ramp into the clearing behind the ship. The ground was smooth. Stars above lit the sky like glittering silver dust. Luma followed slowly, one hand on Ben's arm. She had grown to trust his voice, his pace, his calm. His presence was like a light in her darkness. "Where are we going?" she asked. "You'll see." He stopped and carefully removed the cloth. Beneath it was a small, one-seat hover bike. Its body was sleek and lightweight, painted with soft matte colors. But the controls, they were completely different from standard bikes. There were no visual displays, no buttons. Instead, it had smooth panels for touch-based controls, a sound feedback system, custom guiding software that read terrain and gave voice directions, a safe speed limiter to protect the rider. Ben turned to her. "This is yours." Luma stood still, confused. "Mine?" "Yes, I built it for you. Every part. It's designed for your senses. No sight needed. Just touch, sound, and balance." She placed her hands on the smooth handle grips. Her fingers trembled. "You made this for me?" Ben smiled. "You said you dreamed of flying." Her voice caught in her throat. "I didn't mean. I never thought. You want to try?" he asked. I'm scared." "It's okay to be scared," he said softly. "But I'll be right here. I'll guide you. Trust yourself." Luma took a deep breath. The night wind brushed her face, slowly. Carefully, she swung a leg over the seat. The bike hummed to life. Her bracelet synced with it immediately, giving her soft signals. A calm female voice spoke through the small speaker. "Terrain clear. Bound stable. Ready to move." Ben stood beside her, one hand resting on the back. "Just lean forward. A little. Yes, like that. Now, gently press with your right hand. The bike lifted an inch off the ground. Luma gasped. You're doing it, Ben said. You're flying. She laughed, a sound so pure, so full of joy, that it made Ben's chest tighten. I'm flying. She whispered, ready to go faster. He asked. She nodded. This time, there was no fear. The bike rose higher, then slid forward slowly. The wind rushed against her face. The ground moved beneath her. The machine's voice calmly warned her about small rocks and turns. Ben ran beside her for the first few meters, just in case, but she didn't need help. Luma was gliding through the moonlight, guided only by her senses and the device he built just for her. She tilted the bike slightly and turned, then again, then faster. She let out a shout. I'm doing it, Ben. I'm really doing it. He laughed from below. Told you? She flew in a wide circle above him, her silver hair flying, her voice laughing freely. There were no walls, no cages, no fear, only air, freedom, and stars. After 10 minutes, the bike gently lowered itself back near the ship, guided by the auto-landing function. Luma stepped off and ran toward Ben. Without thinking, she threw her arms around him. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. Ben hugged her back. You earn it. You're amazing. Luma stepped back, wiping a tear from her cheek. No one's ever done something like this for me. Not ever. Well, Ben said, trying to keep his voice steady. Maybe that's because no one ever saw how special you really are. She smiled, brighter than he had ever seen before. I thought I was nothing, Ben. But now I feel alive. Ben looked at the stars. You're alive. And you're just getting started. Later that night, Luma sat on the top of the ship, listening to the wind. Ben climbed up beside her with the cups of warm tea. You know, she said softly, I used to think the dark was a prison. Ben stayed quiet, letting her speak. But now it feels like space, like something big, something full of hope. Ben handed her the tea. You changed the way you see it, she nodded. Because you changed the way I see myself. They sat in silence for a while, sipping quietly. The stars above blinked gently, and the wind was soft. Ben, Luma said after a moment, yeah? Do you think I'll ever be more than this? I mean, more than a fixer, more than just someone you helped? Ben looked at her, eyes warm. I think you already are. You just don't see it yet, but I do. I see someone strong, someone brave, someone with a future. Luma blushed. You really think that? I don't just think it, I believe it. Luma reached for his hand, her fingers wrapped around his, not in fear, but in trust. I'm glad I met you, she said. Ben smiled. So am I that night in the quiet of space. A blind alien girl who had once been thrown away felt something she had never felt before. She felt seen. She felt safe. She felt free. And in the heart of darkness, she finally believed that she mattered. The sky above the alien market was dark with smoke and dust. Bright neon signs flickered in strange languages. Loud voices shouted over each other as traders showed off metal parts, broken tech, strange animals, and sometimes living beings. Ben walked slowly through the crowd, hands in his pockets. He wasn't there to buy anything special. Just a few spare parts for his ship, maybe some fuel. He had been flying alone for months, fixing things for whoever needed help on small frontier planets. But this market felt different. Too loud, too cruel. He passed a tall metal cage. Inside were creatures from many planets, scared, quiet, and waiting to be sold. Ben hated this part of the galaxy. No real law. No one to stop this kind of trade. Then he saw her. A small alien girl sat on the floor of the cage, knees pulled to her chest. Her skin was gray-blue and rough, like cracked stone. Her white eyes didn't move, clearly blind. Her face looked strange to others, maybe even ugly to some. Her hair was thin and silver, tied back with an old wire. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just sat still, as if waiting for the end. Ben stopped walking. Something inside him tightened. The trader noticed and grinned. You like the weird one, huh? He said in a thick accent. She's blind, weak, half dead, maybe. I'll give you a low price. Just get her off my hands." Ben didn't answer at first. He looked around. No one else even glanced at her. Other aliens were being sold for high credits, strong workers, rare types, trained pets. But this girl, she had no value here. "What's her name?" Ben asked quietly. "Name? Ha. Don't think she ever had one. Was passed around a few times. She doesn't talk much. Not worth much." Ben looked back at the girl. She hadn't moved. But he noticed one thing. Her fingers were slightly curled, as if she had flinched when he spoke. "I'll take her," he said. "How much?" The trader laughed. "You serious? Fine. 200 credits. Just don't return her if she breaks." Ben paid without another word. The cage opened with a creak. The girl didn't move, even as the gate swung wide. Gently, Ben stepped inside and crouched beside her. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." She turned her head slowly toward his voice. Her eyes didn't focus. But she listened. "I'm Ben," he said. "Can you walk?" The girl didn't speak. But after a moment, she tried to stand. Her legs were shaky, weak. Ben offered his arm. She hesitated, then took it. Her hand cold and thin like dry paper. The walk back to his ship was quiet. People stared. Some laughed. One alien even said, "You buying garbage now, human?" Ben ignored them all. The girl kept her head down. But when they reached his small ship, and the door slid open with a soft hiss, she froze. "Go on," he said. "It's yours now, too." She stepped inside carefully, her feet unsure on the smooth metal floor. Ben led her to the back room, where there was a soft bunk, warm lights, and some clean blankets. "This is your room," he said. "You can rest here. No one will hurt you." She stood near the wall. Silent, Ben placed a cup of warm soup on the table. "You hungry?" The girl sniffed the air. Then, slowly, she walked to the table, felt the edge, and found the cup with both hands. She drank like she hadn't eaten in days. Ben didn't watch too closely. He just sat nearby, checking a data pad, pretending to be busy. After she finished, she sat on the floor, curling up again. "You don't have to sit there," he said. "The bed's soft." But she didn't move. Ben sighed and stood up. "I'll be outside. If you need anything, just say it." As he left, he heard her whisper, a soft, broken voice. "Why?" He turned back. "Why what? Why by me?" she asked. Ben looked at her. Her face was half hidden in shadows. But he could see the pain, the confusion. "I don't know," he said honestly. "Guess I just didn't want to walk away." She said nothing more. But as the door slid closed behind him, he thought he saw something new in her blank white eyes. Not fear, maybe curiosity. That night, Ben couldn't sleep. He lay on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. His mind kept going back to the girl. What had she been through? How many times was she passed from trader to trader, like broken tech? He had no plan, no idea what to do with her. But he knew one thing. She was safe now, and whatever came next, they'd figure it out. Days after the flying surprise, the quiet peace Ben and Luma had was shattered. One afternoon, as Ben was repairing a small engine in the workshop, he heard a heavy knock on the door. He opened it slowly. Standing there were two large aliens, wearing dark uniforms with badges. Ben's heart sank. "Ben," one said in a low voice, "we're here on official business. You have a girl, Luma. She belongs to someone else." Ben frowned. "She belongs to no one. She's free." The other alien pulled out a small data chip and showed it to Ben. "Legal records say she was sold years ago to a trader named Krav. He says you stole his property." Ben looked at the chip. The name made his blood run cold. Krav was known in this part of space as a ruthless slaver. If he wanted someone back, he would not ask nicely. "I didn't steal anything," Ben said firmly. "She's not property. She's a person." The two aliens exchanged looks. "You have 2 days to return her, or we'll come back with enforcement." Ben closed the door. His hands trembled. He knew this was serious and dangerous. That night, Ben told Luma everything. She sat quietly, listening as he explained. When he finished, she looked down. "I don't want to go back," she said softly. Ben took her hand. You won't, I promise. But what if they come? We'll be ready, Luma nodded. But fear was clear in her voice. The next day, Ben reached out to old friends, a few humans and aliens he trusted from his travels. They agreed to help. Together, they set up watches around the ship, built simple defenses, and prepared for the worst. Luma worked with Ben, learning how to use the tools and help prepare. She wasn't the scared girl from the market anymore. She was strong. She was ready. On the second night, the attackers came. A group of slavers, led by a tall, cruel-looking alien, landed near the ship in armored vehicles. Ben and his friends waited quietly. As the slavers moved in, Ben's team acted. A loud alarm sounded. Lights flashed. Ben and his friends fought bravely, using surprise and clever tricks. They trapped the slavers in narrow corridors, cutting off their advance. Luma stayed close to Ben, helping by listening carefully. Her sonar bracelet gave warnings of enemy movements. She guided her friends through dark areas and helped avoid traps. Though she could not see, her other senses were sharper than anyone's. In the middle of the fight, the cruel slaver Krav himself appeared. He pushed through the group, heading straight for Luma. Ben stepped in front. She's not yours, Ben said. Krav sneered. She's property. You stole her. No, she's free. Krav raised a weapon. Suddenly, Luma moved. She reached out, grabbed a loose pipe from the floor, and swung it with all her strength. The pipe hit Krav's arm, causing him to drop the weapon. The moment surprised everyone. Luma didn't wait. She pushed Krav back and shouted to Ben, "Run!" Ben grabbed her arm, and they ran. Outside, Ben's friends blocked the remaining slavers. The attackers soon realized they were trapped. With no chance to win, they retreated, swearing they would return. Ben and Luma watched them leave. We won this time, Ben said. But they will come back, Luma nodded. Then we prepare. After the fight, Ben looked at Luma with pride. You were amazing, he said. Luma smiled. Tired but happy. I'm not the girl from the market, she said. I'm someone else now. Ben agreed. You're stronger than anyone I know. She looked up at the stars. I want to help others. Like me. Ben put his arm around her. We'll make sure no one gets left behind. In the days that followed, Ben and Luma worked harder. They fixed the ship's defenses, built new tools, and made plans to help other lost aliens. Luma became a symbol of hope, proof that even the most forgotten could find strength. One evening, as they rested, Ben asked, Do you ever wish you were like everyone else? Luma shook her head. No, I am who I am, and that is enough. Ben smiled. You've taught me a lot. They sat quietly, watching the stars together. The fight was over for now, but their journey was just beginning. The night was cold, but the small outpost around Ben's ship glowed with quiet energy. Lights blinked, machines hummed softly, and the group of defenders moved like shadows, ready for what might come. Ben stood at the center, watching his friends prepare. Old friends from many worlds, all with their own stories, had come to help. They had seen Ben's kindness before. They knew the girl called Luma was not just any alien. She was a symbol of hope. Luma stood beside him. Her hands were steady on the railing, her bracelet softly humming its sonar signals. We won't let them take you, Ben said. Luma smiled, a calm confidence in her voice. We fight together. As the hours passed, everyone stayed alert. The slavers could come at any moment. Ben's team had set traps and alarms around the perimeter. The workshop was reinforced. Every person had a role. Luma helped too. She moved quietly through the ship, using her sharp hearing and her sound mapper bracelet to check for any danger. Though blind, she was no longer helpless. You're amazing, Ben whispered to her. She looked up. I'm not the same girl from before. No, you're better. Suddenly, alarms blared. The slavers had arrived. Krav led them, fierce and angry. They moved fast, trying to break the defenses, but Ben's team was ready. The narrow corridors worked in their favor. Slavers struggled to move in groups. The defenders used light weapons and clever traps. Luma stayed close to Ben. Her bracelet helped warn them of enemy steps. and her sharp mind suggested moves before attacks. Left turn, incoming, she shouted. Pointing with her hand, the defenders blocked the attack, pushing slavers back. Krav roared with frustration. He tried to reach Luma again, but this time, she was ready. With Ben's help, she took control. They moved as one. Luma used a small device to create loud sounds, confusing the enemies. Ben used smoke bombs to block vision. Together, they outsmarted the slavers. One by one, the attackers fell back. In the final moment, Krav tried one last attack. Luma grabbed a tool and stood firm. Leave now, she said loudly. Krav hesitated, then saw Ben and the others surrounding him, defeated. Krav and his team retreated. The battle was over. Ben looked at Luma with pride. You did it, he said. We did it, she answered. The team cheered quietly, knowing their fight had saved more than just one life. In the days that followed, Ben and Luma helped others trapped in the same darkness. They fixed ships, shared technology, and gave hope to those lost. Luma became a leader, strong, brave, and kind. She showed others that no matter where you start, you can rise. One evening, as the sun set, Ben and Luma sat outside, watching the stars. Ben smiled. You changed everything. Luma nodded. Because someone believed in me. Ben looked at her, and I always will. Together, they faced the future, ready for whatever came next. The stars above glimmered softly like distant fires. The quiet hum of the ship blended with the gentle wind as Ben and Luma stood side by side on a small hill outside their outpost. The air smelled fresh, mixed with the scent of wild plants growing. Nearby, the night felt calm, but their journey was far from over. Luma looked up at the sky, her white eyes reflecting the starlight. She smiled quietly. Ben, she said, her voice soft and sure, do you think I'm really free now? Ben smiled warmly. More than free. You've earned a place where no one can tell you otherwise. Luma nodded. I used to think I was nothing, just lost and broken. But you weren't, Ben said. You were always more. She looked at him, eyes shining. You gave me a name, a home, and a chance to fly. Ben laughed. And you showed me how strong hope can be. Back in the workshop, the air was alive with energy. Luma and Ben worked side by side, surrounded by tools, wires, and strange machines they had fixed or built together. But it was more than work. It was a new beginning. Luma carefully soldered tiny circuits while Ben adjusted the wiring on a drone. They spoke softly, sharing dreams and plans. Soon, Luma said, we will help others like me, blind or lost, with no one to turn to. Ben nodded. We'll build a place where everyone can belong. No matter their past, their vision was clear, a safe haven in the stars, where no one would be judged by looks or limits, where everyone had a chance. The news of their victory over the slavers had spread. More and more aliens, humans, and outcasts came to the outpost seeking help. Ben and Luma welcomed each one, offering shelter and hope. Luma became a teacher, showing others how to use technology adapted for all kinds of needs. She built devices for blind aliens, gave lessons on using sound and touch, and encouraged everyone to believe in themselves. One day, a small group of blind children arrived. Shy and afraid, Luma knelt down and smiled. You are not alone anymore. She taught them how to listen to machines, how to trust their other senses, and most importantly, how to be proud of who they were. One evening, Ben and Luma stood outside again. The sky was clear, the stars twinkling. Luma, Ben said, you changed more than your own life. You changed mine, and many others. She smiled. I am still learning, but with you, I feel I can do anything. Ben took her hand gently. Together, we can reach the stars. She squeezed his hand. Then let's not stop. As the outpost grew, so did the family they built. Friends, allies, and strangers became a community. Luma's story was told again and again, a story of hope, courage, and the power of kindness. She no longer hid from the world. She faced it boldly, proud and strong. One night, as the twin moons rose, Luma stood alone on the hill, feeling the cool breeze. She whispered her name, feeling its meaning deeper than ever. I'm Luma. I am light, and in that light, she saw the future bright and endless. Ben watched her from the doorway, filled with pride. You are more than your past, he said. Luma turned, smiling softly. Thanks to you, together. They looked up at the stars. Their journey had begun in darkness, but now it was filled with light, and in that light, they would shine forever. End of part 7.